Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Puggy Gamer Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which released in July of this year. We're a little more than 3 weeks away from Ninja Gaiden 4's release, and I'm really excited for that game, especially considering that Platinum Games, the same developers of Metal Gear Rising, Revengeance, and the Bayonetta games, is working on it. I think that I'm really going to enjoy it. And it's looking like it's going to be an amazing action game, and I can't wait to play it. Anyways, today I'm going to be looking at the other Ninja Gaiden game that came out this year. Well, the new other one that came out this year. We also got Ninja Gaiden 2 Black back in January, but that's a remaster. It's not technically a new game. Now, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound it's pretty simple in terms of its story, but I'll give a quick little rundown of it, and I'm also going to give a spoiler warning since the game's still fairly new. I'm going to put a timestamp somewhere here, so just skip to that timestamp if you want to avoid spoilers. Alright. If you're still here, then let's get into the story. So the opening level of this game, you play as Ryu's father, and you actually play as him going to fight in the duel that's in the opening of the first Ninja Gaiden game, as in Ninja Gaiden for the NES in 1988. Gonna go on a quick little rant here. Why are there like 3 different games that are just called Ninja Gaiden? It's confusing. I mean, I know that Ninja Gaiden 2004 obviously has the Black and Sigma versions, but I still think it's a bit annoying that there's multiple games in this series that have the exact same name. Anyways, after that level, the game goes to Ryu training with this game's main protagonist, a young Hayabusa clan ninja named Kenji. I think it would have been kind of funny if his name were just Ken. It would have been like Street Fighter with 2 guys named Ryu and Ken, but that's probably why they called him Kenji, so that they wouldn't get into some kind of lawsuit with Capcom, I don't know. But after you go through what's basically a tutorial level, these demons start attacking the village, and Ryu gets a letter from his father that confirms he died in the duel. And this sets off the events of the first Ninja Gaiden NES game, and so Ryu is out of the picture for the rest of this game. Kenji goes to fight the demons and then realizes he's going to need to leave the village to find out where they're coming from so he can stop them for good. And he goes into what's basically the demon world, I guess, and he fights this big demon, but he gets hurt pretty badly because I think the demon basically makes itself explode. I don't really know. But after this, Kenji finds the Black Spider Clan ninja Kumori. I think I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. This game doesn't have any voice acting other than like grunts and whatever. But you play as Kumori in 2 levels that are flashbacks that show you how she got here. And she tells Kenji that he needs to stab her with this magic weapon that she has on her that's called the Tamashi Kunai. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I probably didn't. I don't really care. But he needs to stab her with it because they're both bleeding and dying. And at first Kenji doesn't want to because the Black Spider Clan ninjas are enemies of his clan. But since he's about to die, he doesn't really have much of a choice. So he stabs her with it, and Kimori's spirit sort of like fuses with his body and they kind of become one being. And this gives Kenji special powers called Ragebound arts, and it lets him use Kimori's weapons. And now I'm definitely going to be like glossing over some stuff, but basically the general gist of what happens is they team up to stop the demons, and they have to find these 3 crystals so they can get back into the demon world and stop the big bad demon in charge of everything. I think it's just called the Demon Lord, I don't remember, and I don't really feel like looking it up. But the 2 of them beat this demon, and from what I remember, I beat the game a couple weeks ago, so my memory might be a little bit hazy on this, but Basically, one of them has to stay behind in the demon world to finish off the demon lord, and the other one has to go back and return the Tamashi kunai to the Spider Clan. And the game lets you choose if you want to sacrifice either Kenji or Kumori. I sacrificed Kumori, but I don't think that the ending really changes a whole lot aside from the ending cutscene. I think is like right after the credits. I know this probably sounds like a really bare bones story. Well, I mean, it's not anything incredible or even all that memorable. It has some interesting moments, if you ask me. I like a lot of the interactions between Kenji and Kumori. I thought some of them were kind of funny, just a little bit, and I thought that they both were pretty cool characters. And when you beat the game, you unlock hard mode, and I think that beating it gives you a secret third ending, but I haven't finished it, so I don't know. It also, I didn't even put this on my notes here, but the hard mode, it's not like most games to where it just has everything do more damage to you. No, like the level designs are actually different, and like the boss fights are a little different. I mean, I've only played a couple levels of it, but I think it's cool that it's actually like different. There's a reason to play it other than just everything deals more damage. And yeah, so I don't know what this third ending is, but I'd imagine that it's basically just showing whichever character you sacrificed getting out of the demon world, because we don't see that character actually die or anything. And I like how this game is set during another Ninja Gaiden game, and so it explains why. It makes sense why Ryu is not the main character. I think they handled that pretty well. And it is pretty cool that he's only in this game for the beginning, but it is still pretty cool seeing him and Kenji interact. I think Kenji is sort of like his protege a little bit, it seems. I don't know, I thought the banter was kind of cool. But I'm pretty sure there was some dialogue that said this game takes place after Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360, the sequel to the 2004 game, not Ninja Gaiden 2 on the NES, which is a completely different game from that. Do you see why these names irritate me now? Do you see why this annoys me? Just explaining this is frustrating me. Okay, I need to calm down, because I'm actually going to talk about only good things pretty much from now on. So that's pretty much it for the story. I know there's some stuff I didn't really talk about, but like with most of the games in this series, the story isn't really the main focus. I think it's a decent story, even though it wasn't anything super deep or complex. But a game like this, I don't think that it really needed to be. It kept things moving, and it has enjoyable moments, and I wouldn't really say that there's anything like bad about it necessarily. It's not the focus, it's not the selling point of the game, and I think that's fine. They didn't need to make like a super epic story or anything. This gets the job done, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it necessarily. But anyways, now let's get into what is, in my opinion, what makes this game so damn good. And that is, without question, the gameplay. This game was made by the Game Kitchen, who made the Blasphemous games, which are Metroidvanias with pixel art styles. And I do own both games, but I haven't finished the first one yet, and I definitely need to before playing the second one. But from what I've played so far, it's a fun game. This game also uses pixel art, which I think looks really nice, and it's pretty smooth, at least on the PS5. I'll get back to that later. Unlike Blasphemous, though, this game is not a Metroidvania, and considering just how damn many of those games there are these days, that is perfectly fine with me. This game plays like a traditional, old-school, level-based side-scroller, although there is some levels there's a little bit of exploring that you can do. if you want to like find the hidden collectibles like the crystal skulls and the golden scarabs, but you don't really need to collect anything to beat the game. It's all just optional. As Kenji, you have a katana that he can swing pretty fast over and over again with this quick combo, and as long as you keep pressing the attack button, he just keeps going, like he doesn't stop attacking, which I think is nice. It keeps things fast, and you don't really lose momentum as you're fighting in this game. And it's a lot more useful against bosses because most common enemies usually only take a couple hits to kill. There's also a dodge button that lets you roll forward to go under maybe an enemy that's jumping, or you can use it to like get through a hole in the wall. And if you press the attack button while you're doing it, you'll like thrust your sword into whatever's in front of you, and it does a lot of damage, and it kills some enemies in one hit, which is pretty cool. And you can also climb up on walls and do wall jumps, which is always fun. And you can even climb on ceilings to get around. I don't really get how that works, but it's fun to do. Now, one thing that sets this game apart from other, hack and slash side scrollers is the guillotine boost, which is this spin move that you can do after you jump, and it lets you bounce off of pretty much anything other than, I guess, like the floor and walls and, I guess, collectibles. Like, I'm serious, you can bounce off of just about anything, like projectiles, enemies, and you can bounce off of fireballs. I don't really get how that works, but it's a video game. And a bunch of other stuff you can bounce off of. It's really fun and satisfying to use. It doesn't really do much damage to most of the normal enemies, but you're going to have to get the hang of it to traverse through a lot of these levels properly, and you're going to need it for some platforming and getting across certain gaps, and you're going to need it to, dodge attacks on a lot of the boss fights. So it's definitely essential that you get the rhythm of it and figure out how to really use it to its fullest potential. Now, Kimori has the kunai, I'm probably saying that wrong, I don't care, as her main weapon, which is it's basically just throwing knives. You have an energy gauge that depletes when you use them, but you can throw them really fast if you spam the button a lot, and you can throw it in 4 directions. You can go like up, down, left, and right when you're throwing them around, and they're pretty useful. That same gauge fills up whenever you hit enemies with the katana, and it's also linked to your spider weapons, which are pretty much like the sub-weapons from the Castlevania games. I didn't really use these much, but I still think it's a cool thing to have. One of them is basically just the axe from Castlevania, except it's like a ninja throwing star. Another one is the shield that I think protects you from 1 hit, maybe some enemies it's 2 hits, I don't remember for sure. And there was another one that like summons these spinning blades that circle around you that can like take out like those little flying enemies, which is cool. And there's more of them that you can buy in the shop, which is what you use the golden scarabs for that I mentioned earlier. And I didn't get very many of the weapons, but speaking of the shop, you can obviously, as I just said, buy spider weapons, and I'm losing my spot here. Oh yeah, you can get these items that make the game a little bit harder, like it might make it to where you don't recover health from a checkpoint, or there's no health items in a level, but the trade-off is that it raises your rank at the end of each level, which, as far as I can tell, I don't think that the ranks really do anything. I think for all but like 2 levels I got a B rank on all of them. I don't even know what it does. So I think it's pretty much just for bragging rights. I could be wrong, I don't know for sure, but it's what it seemed like to me, anyways. And I didn't use any of those items just because I didn't really think it'd be worth it. There's also these items that give you like these status effects, like there's one that makes you do more damage when you're low on health, and there's another one that like gives you a hypercharge attack if you do a certain number of like guillotine boosts on enemies in a row. It's not like a super robust or deep system or anything, but I do like having a bit of customization there to, you know, mess around with stuff. And I should probably mention those hypercharged attacks. So basically what it is some enemies that are going to be glowing, and if you kill one of them, it gives you a hypercharge, which it makes your next attack do a whole lot more damage than a regular attack. It's useful for like breaking through certain obstacles, and it kills most enemies in just one hit, even if they have shields up or anything. It just goes right through, which I think is awesome. It also does a ton of damage to some of the bosses, and it usually stuns them for a few seconds, so you can get a few extra hits in. You can use a hypercharge attack with either the katana or I'm calling them throwing knives at this point. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm just going to butcher it. And you can use either your sword, the katana, or the throwing knives for a hypercharge. I can't speak. Hypercharge attack. And you have to kill an enemy that's glowing with the right weapon. Like if an enemy is glowing blue, you have to kill it with your katana, and if it's pink, you have to kill it either with the throwing knives or a spider weapon. And the game does explain this to you, but I think I kind of just forgot about it for a little bit, and it was throwing me off some. But yeah, if you use the wrong weapon, you don't get anything, which can get a little irritating when all these enemies are coming at you super fast, and you might like use the wrong weapon on something and not get a hypercharge, but it's not a huge deal most of the time. There's no enemy that you can't like kill with just the katana, so it's not like you have to use hypercharge attacks. There's also these like basically super moves that are called Ragebound arts that you get when you've filled up these orbs that are like surrounding your health bar. I only lost, I think, 2 of them, but I'm pretty sure that there's more of them. One of them, which is the default one that you unlock, it's this attack that launches these like really fast projectile things at enemies. I think it's like 7 hits or something, and it does a ton of damage to some of the bosses. I like using it it's like a killing blow against some of them. It can be really helpful if you're low on health and you need to just get the upper hand in a fight. And there's also another Ragebound art that just spawns a healing field. I actually discovered this during a boss fight because I didn't realize that I didn't know I had it equipped, so I was just confused as to why I wasn't doing the attack. But yeah, if you couldn't tell by now, I think this game's a ton of fun. It's fast, and it's really going to test your combat and platforming skills at some points, but I think that, at least for me, I think that the difficulty was, I think it was just right. I think they really did a good job. It wasn't too easy to get boring, but it also wasn't so challenging to where it made me want to just snap my controller in half. It was the fun kind of challenging, which I really like that in a game. I think this definitely applies to the bosses also. Some of them took me several tries to take out, but I never got so frustrated to the point where I just wanted to give up and stop playing. There is an assist mode that you can use to make the game a bit easier. You can change settings like the speed of the game, and I think there's a way to turn off like knockback or something. I don't remember exactly what all the settings were. I didn't use it at all, but it doesn't. It has no effect on your achievements. So if you're struggling with the game, you can certainly turn it on and make things easier for yourself. But yeah, I think this game had a pretty well-balanced difficulty overall. I was impressed. Oh, and did I mention that, you know what happens when you die in this game? You get sent back to your last checkpoint. That's it. You don't have to go kill a ghost, or you don't lose all your money or your weapons. You just have to try again. I wish every 2D action game were like this, and it makes me angry that not all of them are. This game's soundtrack is also amazing. The original tracks sound great, and there's also remixes of songs from Ninja Gaiden NES, and it's also good. I don't think that there's a single track in this game that I thought sounded bad or even like mediocre. I think they really knocked it out of the park here with the music. I think they did a good job blending like retro sounds with like more modern instruments, and I think it's all just great. Now, onto my complaints with this game, which is thankfully not a whole lot. The only thing about this game that I just outright didn't like is how long some of the late game levels can get, the checkpoints. And some of them are also kind of spread far apart, so sometimes when I would die I would have to do a pretty decent chunk of a level all over again. There was one level that took me, it said it was at least like 45 minutes it took me to get to the boss. I mean, the boss fight was easy in that level, I remember, but I don't even remember which one it was. But yeah, like there were some levels towards the end of the game I was just sort of thinking, like, can we just wrap this up already? I want to get a move on, this is getting annoying. There was one level in particular that had two different segments. I won't like spoil what it is, but I felt like they should have just split it into two different levels. I think it went on for too long. But other than that, my only other real complaint, and based on the video I put out a few days before this game came out, you can probably guess what I'm about to talk about, is this game's performance on the Nintendo Switch. I got this game on my Switch 1 and I beat the first two levels, and it felt like the game was struggling to even hit 30 frames per second. Felt sluggish, and it just wasn't good enough for a game like this. And I'm normally someone who doesn't really care about a game running at 30 FPS as long as it's stable. This was not stable. This was like sluggish and slow, and I just did not like it. They did release a patch a couple weeks ago for the Switch version that lets you change the FPS target to either 30 or 60, and it definitely does feel a lot smoother now. I played some more of it on the Switch 1, I beat a couple more levels, but it's still not great, I don't think. It's probably a lot better on Switch 2, I don't know, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend playing this on the Switch 1. It's definitely still playable. I don't feel like you're missing out if you have to get it on Switch 1, if that's somehow your only option. I don't really know why that would be the only thing you'd have in 2025, but maybe it is, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely playable, but it's kind of rough compared to the other versions, so if you can get it on something else, I would. I got the PS5 version the same day I got it on the Switch, and on there it was so much better. I got a smooth 60 frames per second, the game looked great, and it just felt a whole lot better to play. But other than that, I loved this game. I had a ton of fun with this. I really didn't expect it to be this good. I mean, I knew it would be good. I knew I'd enjoy it, but I didn't think I'd end up loving it this much. For my score, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. It's the highest I've given a game on this channel so far. I know I've only reviewed 3 games, but like this, I think this is absolutely the best game that I've played played for the channel so far, or reviewed, I should say. I think it absolutely deserves that score. If you like challenging 2D platformers, do yourself a favor, try this game out. It's not even fully priced. I mean, I bought it twice, for crying out loud. And if you ask me, I'd say it meets the quality that fully priced games should meet. Fortunately, a lot of full-priced games don't, but I've got a feeling that Ninja Gaiden 4 will, and I can't wait for that game, and I hope it's just as good as this game, if not even better. My next review will probably be Dying Light the Beast. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I've been having a great time with it, and I'm looking forward to finishing it and reviewing it on here. But that's all I got. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night, and I will see you guys later. Bye.